Howdy, folks. I'm Nim Jickles. This is the Ain't That a Bitch podcast. Still don't know what episode it is. Really, though, what are we at, Aiden? Like, somewhere between 5 and 10 is what I'm going to say. So let's go with that. Anyways, fuck it. Happy New Year's, y'all. Well, by the time this comes out, that's going to be morbidly out of date. But fuck it. I don't give a shit. It's a new decade, too, so the celebration gets to last 10 times as long, I guess. 2020. So far, surprisingly this year, haven't had any issue with writing the wrong year. I don't know if you guys, I know that's a thing. It's every time you goes into the new year, you always write fucking the last year that it was for like a month before you get it right. Never happened this year. It's happened to me every year before. I don't know. Like, happened to you?
Yeah, it's happened a couple times.
Anyways, it's a meme. Like, fuck, I just assume it happened to everyone. But anyways, so that's been weird. New year, new me. Not really. Same as ever. Same show as ever. We're back from our really extended break I was out of town for a week. We were on vacation. We went to Dominican Republic, which was great. Awesome. It was nice. Also meant I was away from home for doing all the things that I have to do. Had to write a lab the day before we got back to school. Had to catch up on fucking piano and shit. For all of you white kids out there who don't need to do an instrument, count your lucky stars. It's a goddamn commitment. And I am always, I talk about this a lot with other people, but the vacation thing, every time someone hears I'm going on vacation to some place, I'm very fortunate to have grandparents that were very good at saving their money when my dad it was on my dad's side, his parents. When my dad was younger, they did not have a ton of money and they did not spend a lot at all. They bought their house really early. They lived in the same house for like 40 years or whatever. And they've lived like very modest lives so that now they have lots of money that they can use to spend on like meaningful experiences. So they travel the world all the time and then they take their families on all kinds of trips every year. This is great. I'm really appreciative of it. For the first, 11, 12 years of my life. In high school, it's still great, don't get me wrong, but it's a nightmare to come back from. And, I'm conscientious about myself enough at this point where even when I'm on the trip, it's already a nightmare knowing that when I come back, I have to catch up on everything I missed. Even when you're going out for a break, like I say, if you do an extracurricular, you're a week behind on it. Like, shit, man. I have a piano exam in like April. It's the level 10 Royal Conservatory. If you know, you know. If you don't, doesn't matter. But anyways, like just taking a week off of practicing that, it's tough shit. But whatever, enough of my bitching. What's happening in the new year? So it's almost pointless to bring up. I haven't watched it yet, but new Star Wars: The Clone Wars season 7 trailer came out. Not that anyone who listens to this gives a shit about Star Wars except Sean, and he edits the thing anyway, so he doesn't really listen to it. But regardless, I haven't even watched it yet. But from what I hear, anyways, if you don't know, Star Wars: Clone Wars is the last good thing that Star Wars has going for it because it's got Disney's dick very little in it. And it's an animated series that takes place between the second and third Star Wars movies, not by release date, but chronologically. And from what I'm hearing, the trailer for the seventh season of this show, it was canceled, by the way, for a very long time after the 5th season, and then people were very excited when it came back for season 6, and now they released a trailer for season 7. Evidently, it looks like they are finally reaching the logical conclusion of the show, which is to connect it into the third movie, since the first episode picks up immediately after Attack of the Clones, and then I guess now it's gonna tie directly into Revenge of the Sith. So that's cool if you give a shit, and if you don't, I don't know, like maybe you're watching Mandalorian or something. Whatever, I don't care. Also, apparently, again, if you're following this stuff, they want to make a Kenobi movie, right? And fans going batshit crazy about that. I'm excited. I mean, Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, is easily one of the best characters in the franchise, but apparently they're fucking with that now too. Again, like, you give Disney any hand in anything and they just fuck with it as much as they can. But regardless, it's like apparently they're doing a Suicide Squad thing of like sending the whole thing back to fucking formula and recasting everyone or something, or like not the cast but like the crew or something. They're changing out the crew, like the camera crew and the editors or whatever. I don't fucking know. I'm too tired to give a shit at this point, but so that's just a update for things to look forward to in the new year. I felt like there's something else. What's new this year? Shit. I forgot. I need to start preparing shit before this. I had something. Fuck.
There's the virus in China.
Yeah, new virus in China. That's fun. I heard like there's several cities that are like on lockdown, essentially. Fucking, oh yeah. Okay, there's all this shit that's completely gonna be obsolete by the time this comes out, but I don't give a shit. Yeah, there's the virus in China. Came out as like fucking, apparently it's being spread through some shit people are eating that's like bats and koalas or something. It's not anything normal, and that's what surprises me the most. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, on the one hand, I get it. Like, wild animals usually pick up the worst diseases, worse than like domesticated animals, because they're not raised on any, all those things that, like the hormones and steroids and stuff, that's like, oh, I don't really want that in my food. But at the same time, it does serve a purpose of keeping them healthier. So wild animals don't have any of that, and where else are you gonna find people more willing to eat dangerous fucking wild animals than China? So yeah, but what doesn't make sense to me is if it's like such a dangerous virus, and a virus is most dangerous when it's spread to a lot of people. That's the biggest issue. What doesn't make sense to me is that something this bad can have happened so quickly. It's like this thing just popped up overnight. It's like, oh, this thing's spreading through China, but it's through fucking people eating like bats. Like, I get it. China, they're into fucking anything, but like, really specifically something like bats, to me it makes way more sense when they had like the swine flu. People are eating pigs left and right. I went to a city in China. Maybe some of y'all Chinese will know where I'm talking about, but I don't remember what the area is in China, but it's like they're fucking into that stuff. You walk down the street at night and there's just people spit roasting entire pigs just in the middle of the street, well, on the side of the street, but whole ass pigs. You walk in any restaurant or store or whatever, they got like the bins, displaying the produce. It's like, it's the pigs that they have, but it's all of the pigs. It's the snout, it's the ears, it's the hooves. Anything that you don't want to eat, they love the most. It doesn't make any sense. Anyways, swine flu, that made sense. Some shit being spread through bats and like fucking whatever the hell other animals. There's some like little fucking ferret, raccoon looking thing. I don't get it. I understand why the disease might be more severe, but how many people is that going to spread to? How many people are actually eating that shit? I don't know. Whatever. That's the thing. Australia fires, again, like it's already over and done by the time this comes out. I don't think the fire situation is completely taken care of, but they did get rains, and then it started to like flood, which was the whole fucking double whammy from God of like, just, I don't know what Australia did, but anyway, so yeah, there was some really severe forest fires in Australia, which honestly, I hate to say it, but it's been a long time coming. If you've seen, I don't know if you guys like ever look at pictures or like have been, but Australia is just the whole continent is fucking kindling. Okay, the whole thing that's not Sydney or Melbourne is just it's called the bush for a reason. The whole thing is a giant tumbleweed just waiting to get ignited. So no, yeah, I'm not surprised that happened. And then they were they're trying to fight the fire as much as they can, save all the animals. But the God's fire extinguisher is rain. It came finally. Everyone was celebrating, and then apparently it started to flood. I'm sure it's just in like some localized areas, and then there's other places still on fire. Just adds to the, classic art. Well, I shouldn't say classic. It's fucked up, but the way our world is now, it's simultaneous epidemics of famine and obesity, fire, wildfires and floods. Droughts and floods is actually usually, but now it's fires. So that's a lot of fun. Again, I'm not keeping up on anything. Donald Trump, president of the good old US of A, is like fucking arrested or something. He's getting impeached. I don't know. Look, I get that it's responsible as a functioning member of your society to keep up with these political events, but honestly, I don't have the time or patience anymore to give a shit. Because what I've realized from trying to keep up with a couple of current events, just a select few, mind you, but man, politicians take so damn long to do everything. Like, come on, they must brush their teeth for 30 minutes in the morning. I mean, for Christ's sake. It's like they've been saying they were going to impeach Trump for months, okay? They were saying it, talking about it since November, and then in like December, it was the meme. Okay, here's the worst thing is culture now moves so much faster, except politics. All part of culture. Technology is accelerating faster than ever before. Society is moving forward. Fucking now with meme culture, shit comes and goes in a week. Governments have not caught up to that standard yet. So the Trump impeachment memes come and gone like that. Trump still hasn't been impeached yet. They were saying like, oh, it's happened, it's done. The memes were made, it was done and over with. And then like yesterday, they had the trial. There was people actually stepping forward and fucking speaking out against Donald Trump in court. Okay? But this was like 2 weeks ago. The memes are already dead about Trump being impeached. So if I'm behind, man, the government is way lagging. And this has happened before. Remember, what was it? Article 13. That was the UK one. That was super fucked up. Tons of memes about that. They were around for like a month. Okay, that was a long-lasting meme. The bill never even got passed until the memes were already dead. It was around for like all of 2018, and it didn't get passed until like 2019. Okay, the meme happened. It came and went a year before it actually happened. Same with net neutrality. Everyone was so worried about that, and there were tons of memes about it. And the thing about these memes is they raise a lot of awareness and sometimes help people take action. But the thing actually happens so much later. Like, fuck, it just happens, and then no one's talking about it after it happened. Again, net neutrality Article 13 were the exact same thing. People all freaking about because they were talking about it happening, and everyone was freaking about trying to stop it from happening. Then the meme died, and when it actually happened, no one knew about it. It's a little bit sad about the way we are now, where things don't really show up on the average person's political radar unless there's memes being made about it. But at the same time, I don't really think it's a problem. Like I said, I have stopped being able to care. So if the memes are funny, great. And then if the actual thing hasn't fucked me over yet, I'm not too concerned about it. Interestingly enough, with all these things people were freaking so much about, and I'm not saying that they weren't big deals, but with net neutrality being compromised, with Article 13 being passed, I'll be honest, I haven't seen really a greater difference in the way I access the internet than was already happening. I mean, things have been deteriorating since 2015. Like, it's fallen apart. YouTube has been getting worse and worse. Just the internet in general. Google is taking over more of our lives. Everything else is becoming obsolete and irrelevant. I'm looking at you, Microsoft Edge. but none of it has. But shockingly, when stuff like Article 13 got passed, like things were still getting worse, but I didn't notice it actually jumping forward or getting significantly more worse than before. And if you don't know, Article 13 was something passed. I said UK, I meant EU. It's passed for the European Union, but because of shit like YouTube is international, the stuff that affects those, YouTube has to comply with, has to comply with Article 13 because, it's like lowest common denominator, right? You gotta make everyone happy. To make everyone happy, you gotta make the most fucked up, stingy person happy. So, regardless, I did not notice huge change. But you know what did really fuck things over on YouTube? Their own policy. And again, I don't know if you guys are keeping up with this stuff, but recently YouTube had their own little venture in bureaucracy with their children's content, or whatever the fuck they're calling it. And I'm sick of it. So what they did is there's been a long-standing issue on YouTube of weirdos, creeps, and just general assholes making content targeted at kids who are too stupid to know when they're being sold a product, who have parents who are too stupid to know that they're throwing their money into a void for their children to have some hollow semblance of happiness and joy. This was YouTubers like the Paul brothers. This was shit like the Elsa and Spider-Man videos and the toy unboxing videos and all that. Really, some of it was some weird crap. If you ever watch one of those Elsa and Spider-Man videos, it's disturbing stuff. But anyways, it was all super, like, it was almost painfully obvious what was happening. It's like those videos would be titled with just repeated keywords so that, to increase searchability for a dumb kid who's just like, I like Spider-Man. So the title of the video would just be like Spider-Man repeated 4 times all in different ways and different spellings, all in capitals, because then no matter what the kid searches, if it looks vaguely like Spider-Man, then it'll show up. Or if they're a girl and they're into Frozen, they look up Frozen or Elsa or Anna. All of it will lead to that same video because the title is going to be like Frozen, Elsa, Anna, Spider-Man, Venom, Friends. Okay, anything that they could possibly put into that search bar would lead to that video. That's the point. The videos themselves, the content of it, doesn't fucking matter. It's all dog shit. All they were trying to do is get views from these stupid kids who just see the thumbnail and the title and they click on it. That's all they needed was searchability, thumbnail, title, and then they got the view. And the kid is too dumb to like change the video before it's over, so they get the watch minutes. Now, one thing I'll say about YouTube is it kind of worked in the way it was supposed to. When's the last time you heard anything about Logan or Jake Paul? Those fuckers, they're gone. Thank goodness. Good riddance. The assholes like Rice Scum, KSI, all those people I didn't ever really give a shit about. They just kind of came and went on their own. They blew up. They were big for 2 seconds and then they went away. And that's what's supposed to happen. If you're, on YouTube, that's the point. If you're not able to consistently make actual quality content that people are willing to consume and you're just going for clickbait, you're just going to explode in fame. And they did, and I'm sure they made tons of money, but now no one gives a shit about them. YouTubers who legitimately put time and effort into their craft, like Markiplier, like fucking PewDiePie, the one that YouTube has been waging war against for years, still can't beat him down because they actually, they care and like they just try because it's a career. It's not just a way to get famous. Anyways, so kudos to that. That's great. But what's happening now? YouTube is trying to fix this issue of, and so I talked about the like Spider-Man Frozen videos, which were just fucked up. But then stuff like Logan and Jake Paul, what they were doing is making videos that were just like, they were designed as regular old vlogs or whatever, but then they would try and target kids specifically, which is fine. You can make kids content even if you're an adult. There's always adults that write children's books, which honestly is really creepy when you go back and think about a full grown-ass man writing in rhymes about green eggs and ham. But regardless, that's fine. Then they promote like their merchandise and shit, still targeted towards those same little kids. And like I said, kids don't know any better. They just see something being sold by a YouTuber they like and they want to. I'm not qualified to talk about it. There's tons of videos on it. Personally, I watched MatPat Game Theory. He makes a ton of videos on this shit, on how YouTube is just falling apart. You can look at that if you're interested. But I'll give you my version, which is, long and short of it, YouTube is fucking dumb. And the people behind it are fucking dumb. And basically everyone with money and power is really fucking dumb except Elon Musk, who's goddamn genius and what any of us would do if we had money, or what we'd like to think we would do. Regardless, whoever the fuck is running YouTube, or I guess Google, because they own YouTube anyways, is like, all right, look, this is what we're gonna do. So, actually, they're a woman. So we have this problem, right, of this children's content being targeted at little kids and trying to sell them things that they're too young to understand. And so this shit is fucking illegal. I just realized that. I finally got a lawyer and decided to look at the fucking law. Turns out advertising towards kids is illegal. That's why, children's programming, you can have commercials and shit, but you can't. You gotta ask your parents' permission before you buy shit. You can't just sell shit at kids, okay? Because they don't understand. They're young and impressionable. You can't use fucking figures that they recognize. You can't use like superheroes or characters that they recognize to try and sell your shit, because that's illegal. It's taking advantage of kids, alright? It's like child pornography but more profitable. So we're gonna fix this. We're gonna fix this, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove all those things, all the things that could affect the youth's mind from YouTube. Okay, we're gonna remove that functionality. So here's how they went about that. It's like, we're gonna try to say we're gonna have YouTube Kids. It's YouTube for kids. If you're under like 12 years old, you have to use YouTube Kids. You can't use YouTube regular. Yeah, that worked really fucking well. That was about as useful as a porn firewall, all right? Are you over 18? Yes, you're in. It's harder to bypass than Are You a Robot challenge or test. Honestly, like, fuck. What are they more worried about? Like, that a human being is actually a robot, or that a 12-year-old is not born in the year 1783. How they have no way of checking whatsoever, because they don't give a shit. So YouTube Kids didn't work at all. And by the way, the only reason they're doing any of this is to protect themselves legally. Like I said, they don't give a shit about what happens to your kids. They just don't want to get in trouble. So what they did now, they're going to their secret weapon, the algorithm, fucking with the algorithm. That's their fallback. That's their old reliable. Whip it out whenever they need to fix a problem. It sounds great. We're changing the algorithms to fix the inherent issues with YouTube, of which are innumerable. So what they're doing is, again, if you don't know, is they're trying to find children's content, and they remove stuff from it. They remove comments, okay? Because fuck, man, YouTube comments are one of the greatest cesspools of the internet, which really I didn't understand fully until I started using other social media. I finally got a phone, and then so I started to get on other social media, and it's like, they can be bad, but shockingly, YouTube comments are one of the worst. I don't understand it, but okay, so they remove comments for YouTube videos that are targeted at children. You also can't use any of the new shit. By the way, the stuff they just added, the like premium subscription, whatever they call it, like become a follower, a member, gives you access to like the fucking super stickers and like special emojis and all that shit. It's like becoming someone's Patreon on Patreon or whatever. You just pay them. You subscribe to them for like a monthly fee or whatever, and then it just gives you some special options for content creator and viewer interaction. It's kind of an interesting idea. Completely unnecessary, but not as batshit stupid as, YouTube originals. Like 2 months after they added those, had to remove them for all videos targeted at kids. Makes sense. You don't want them spending money on anything like that, because especially that shit is worse than like merch, because dumb. There are stupid parents out there. They let the kid have the credit card's information somehow, like accidentally or whatever. They could be paying, $3.99 for 4 years without them knowing. Anyways, so that's good. No comments. That's good. You can't save videos. I kind of understand the reasoning behind this. It's like I don't fucking know. No, I don't understand the reason behind it. You can't save videos. There's still, I think, likes. No, I think supposedly you can't. They're not doing likes and dislikes either. So again, I guess makes sense. Basically, they're removing anything that makes the video mean anything, which, all right, fine. I can understand the reasoning behind that. So you can't be sold anything. They can't get any information other than what's in the video directly. Here's what's fucking dumb. YouTube has no goddamn clue what is content for kids. In their defense, it's partially because the law has no goddamn clue what is content for kids. But YouTube can still do better. Recently, I watched a video that's goddamn hilarious. And if you want to check it out, it's fucking funny. I had no idea about this until I found in a Reddit comment thread. Y'all know Thomas the Tank Engine? Thomas and Friends, the show? The original one, not the fucking animated shit that they made, but it was like fucking stop motion animation. The whole ass show, every character's voice, a whole thing narrated by George Carlin. Apparently, earlier season or something of it, narrated by Ringo Starr. If you don't know who either of those are, go fuck yourself. George Carlin, stand-up comedian, late. But he was a goddamn hilarious genius, and he narrated that children's show. So someone who's also a hilarious genius spliced together a bunch of his comedy bits with his narration of Thomas and Friends and put it together and made one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen. I don't know what the technical limitations of Sean is right now, but if he can stick the video, just a clip of that into this video somewhere, it's goddamn hilarious. Anyways, it's check it out. It's George Carlin. I think it's George Carlin narrates Thomas the Tank Engine or something, but it's fucking funny. I can't describe how funny it is. Obviously, tons of swearing, tons of profanity. It uses the characters from Thomas and Friends, so it's fucking determined to be children's content. All right. I don't know how the hell they could come to that conclusion. And here's what confuses me the most, because the reason they think it's kids content is because it uses children's characters. I actually went, by the way. I was so furious about this that I hit the learn more button, possibly for the first time in human history, to find out more about this policy, and I saw all the little definition of what the fuck counts as children's content is anything that uses children's toys or characters. First of all, what the fuck does that mean? I'm 15 years old. When I'm 27, I will still play with Pokemon cards and Beyblades. You cannot fucking stop me. Are you considering that a children's toy? No, nothing's a children's toy. Okay, I will play with Legos until I'm 99. After that, I will be literally put to death for playing with Legos. No, so toys, that's fucking stupid. Toys, anyone can fucking play with toys. Cartoon characters. Guess what, YouTube? Cartoon characters for adults is fucking funny. You ever heard of that movie Sausage Party? Aqua Teen Hunger Force, South Park, The Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad. I can go on and on and on and on. Cartoons for adults is fucking funny, and it's not for kids. Thomas the Tank Engine is, yes, a cartoon that was targeted at kids. But what do your algorithms do? Do they only look at the video? Do you realize that YouTube has an audio function? In the video, it says not for kids. I don't know when this video was released. Maybe they edited the title and the description. But after YouTube started doing this jack shit with children's content, people have legitimately started having to label their videos as not for kids, not safe for kids. NSFW, whatever it is, so that YouTube will know it's not content for kids. This video had that. It has a disclaimer: do not watch with your kids. Didn't give a shit. Can't do it. I can't do anything. I can't look at the comments. I can't save the video for later. It's kids content. It's the dumbest thing for the dumbest reasons, and the worst thing is it actually happened. It's actually making a real difference in my YouTube viewing experience right now. That fucking pisses me off more than almost anything that's happened. Definitely the worst. I'm more mad about this than anything else this decade, which is kind of a dad joke, but no, I'm serious. And makes me more angry than any of the shit that's happened with the internet in the past. Any of that, Article 13, any of that stuff, because this is just YouTube. Just YouTube trying to get out of some potential legal jams. And the worst thing is it made sense. The idea made sense. YouTube had a problem with people targeting kids in their content. Now they have a problem with people getting shut down and demonetized even when they're not targeting kids in their content. Like, pick a side. Why can't you find the middle road? Why can't you just do what's right? There's so many things that are wrong and one thing that's right. It's not that difficult to find. It makes perfect sense. Great idea. They just don't know what the fuck is kids content. That's the only issue they have, and it's a really simple one to get around, especially when people put in the description of the video whether or not it's designed for kids. It's a fucking yes or no question. You have a 50-50 chance of getting it right, even if you just blindly guess. One of the worst things about it is not even actually what YouTube itself has done, but just what it's made its creators do. One of the saddest things is going and watching any YouTube video now made in the new year, or even starting in 2019, and seeing it have to have that little tag or disclaimer that says not for kids. It's fucking sucks. Not because it doesn't take away from the viewing experience. It doesn't hurt the video quality in any way. In a lot of cases, people are able to get by still making content the same as they ever did with that tag. Not a lot. A lot of them are having to start to censor themselves or just get their content at a new angle. But most people, well, not most. Some people are able to still make the same content as they were before. But just seeing the fact that they have to put that, just every time you read the title of a video, and it's like, especially if they have regularly uploaded videos, all within the same vein of content, all with swearing or profanity or whatever adult content is, but happens to be something that could count by YouTube standards as kids content. Going through their video history and just seeing like the title. After like December 2019, the title also not for kids. It's like just a constant reminder. YouTube is fucking you in the asshole. Always. What are we for time? 33. Half an hour? Mm-hmm. All right, we're doing great. I still have time for a whole other topic. But that's fucking YouTube's problem, and Jesus, it's annoying. Anyways, what else is going on? I have more adventures with battling public transit. I was almost, not really late, but so we're having our finals right now in high school for all of us. Not that anyone listens to this outside of Wisewood, pretty much anyways. So you'll all know, but we're having our finals. They call it finals week. It's 3 weeks. Not that I'm complaining. We're all done ours. And by we, I mean me and everyone else that I know, really, because we're almost all taking the same classes. So we're done. We get a full free week out of school, which is really great. Again, everyone already knows this, but whatever. I feel obligated to just go over this because it eats up time. In your final, when it starts, they want you to be, it's really weird to me, they want you to be there half an hour early before it starts, but you can go in an hour late. So honestly, you can just get there right on time and then wait half an hour before you go in. It's all the same fucking difference. So anyways, you can get in up to an hour after the exam started. Not that I ever would, because God knows I need every bit of extra time they give us. But I was a little bit late by the official start of the exam standards. For my last exam, the one that I need the most time for, surely, which was the chemistry exam, because it was a level 20 IB exam, so basically leagues ahead of all the other ones we did before, which were just 10, and I think most of them were just like -1 level, right? They weren't even, because it was pre-IB. Not that any of that matters or means anything. Point is, I was a little late for that because I had to wait half an hour for the bus. And I don't know why. I don't understand it. It could just be me, because from my understanding, most parts of the city, the buses should be about half an hour intervals apart, right? Like on a decent day. I go to school like really early in the morning for band practices. If you're leaving the house at like 5 a.m., 5:30, you will be able to get every 15 minutes because no one's on the bus. Makes sense. But during the day, not rush hour, just sometime during your regular work day, about half an hour should be the interval. The fact that I had to wait half an hour when I got there either means that A, the buses are fucked and it was actually way longer interval, or I got there right as the last bus left. Both of which are entirely possible, because it would either mean that I'm fucked up or the buses are fucked up, and both of those are true to some degree, so. But anyways, this happens all the time. Lots of times, actually, I know that it is that the bus just left because I see it. I cannot tell you. I don't know. If this happens to you guys, like, speak up, because it fucks with my head. How often as soon as I get in view of the bus stop that I'm heading towards, I see the bus come and just go right past, or stop for someone else to get on and then leave before I'm able to get there. One time I was actually there. I was at the stop. I mean, I was just coming up to it. Tried to stop the bus driver before he pulled out. Didn't see me or hear me. It's a fucking nightmare. If you're trying to get somewhere, on a schedule, it fucking sucks. But that's not what's important. Okay, the buses, whether they're late or I'm just stupid, yeah, that kind of sucks. But, man, I'm still suffering with the garbage. The garbage thing. Look, I know all you guys really want to not give a shit about littering or garbage on the ground or the environment or anything, but holy fuck, even if you were fine with destroying the planet entirely, it's a goddamn eyesore, and it's a testament to how goddamn lazy our species is. I took a video, and I want you to try and put this in at the end of this thing or something. Actually, I'll just get it for you. I found some more, and it like proved exactly what I was saying, because when I said it before, like, I know that there's garbage cans by those bus stops, but this time, I mean, it was right by the garbage can, and you can view that. And so we're gonna put a little clip into this video at the end, maybe right after I'm done talking about it, just about what I saw. And it's atrocious. So guys, pick up your fucking trash. Pick up also even more so than that, just don't drop it in the first place. I know I'm repeating myself, but I don't give a shit. You haven't learned yet, so I will put this into every single goddamn video I make until the entire world has heard it and stops littering. It's a bus stop, and there's a trash can 3 feet away. You're holding something in your hand, don't drop it. If you don't want it anymore, drop it after you've moved to the trash can. It's so goddamn easy. You know what I saw? I'm not going to spoil it. You're going to see it in the video. But it was fucking absurd thing that I saw on the ground. Frozen into the snow. Like, Aiden's seeing it right now. It's goddamn nuts. Ludicrous. People. I just don't have any faith in them. Well, it's good, right? It's horrendous. But anyways, I fucking hate people, and I think it works out. I think it works out pretty well because people are all fucking dead. We're all gonna be dead. And yes, we're all gonna individually be dead, but as a species, we're gonna be dead. We're gonna be gone and extinct, and it's not gonna be too long. I would give us like one generation left. Honestly, things are being fucked right now. The boomers are fucking shit up. The millennials are too depressed to do anything about it or too triggered to actually be taken seriously. Gen Z, we're just trying to get by. And the generation after us, Generation Alpha, I think I mentioned this on a previous episode, but they're fucking being raised on everything that I just said is fucked up about the internet, okay? They're being raised on Elsa and Spider-Man videos. They're being raised on a heavily censored YouTube that can't show anything in a politically correct world where you can't say anything or do anything or show anything at all on television anymore. They're also being raised in a world where there's no TV, there's no movies anymore. Hell, even Netflix is starting to take some hits. There's not going to be anything left except these jack-off streaming services that no one actually gives a shit about. Which, I know this is not really going to make any sense juxtaposed to the conversation I was just having, but incidentally, I've noticed that, yeah, movies are really a dying culture, and things are moving to TV shows. And while I do love a good movie, and you really can't beat the experience of going into a full theater with that big-ass screen, you know, everything's dark, the sound, the view, it's phenomenal, and it's a great experience. That said, I can really understand the appeal of a TV series. I mean, they speak for themselves. They're bingeable. That's exactly what people do with them. Like, they can run longer on a lower budget than any movie. You get more character development, and what's funny is it started out being like this thing started, it was really something that Netflix began. Before that, there was already, you know, stuff like Game of Thrones and fucking Walking Dead and shit like that. People were big into, but like, first of all, they're for adults. I guess they just assume adults have more time so they can watch a longer running series. I don't know. Game of Thrones is based on a book, but anyways, after Netflix happened, they started making Netflix originals and shit. Their movies, a lot of them kind of sucked, but their TV series, like, they took off. Shit like Stranger Things. Black Mirror was a show, right? Yeah, Black Mirror, which, I mean, Black Mirror was kind of just a rip-off Twilight Zone, but it was cool. By the way, I haven't watched any of them, so I can't speak for it. I'm just talking about the impact it's had on what I know people view. Riverdale. Other things, like I said, I don't watch any of them. 13 reasons why. Anyways, whatever. What was that one? You know what? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyways, all that shit got super big, and like that's just what people do. Is they just sit at home and binge like 5 episodes, 10 episodes, a season of this series, and it's like, hell, every episode is the length of a short movie. You know, some of them, it's like an hour-long episode. That's a fucking lot of content. If one season of a show like that, you're going to get more time for character development, plot development, backstory, side stories than, you know, an entire fucking Marvel universe. Which, by the way, is the only movies that can survive now is fucking Disney live-action remakes and huge connected universes, all of which fucking failed except for Marvel. And incidentally, oddly enough, Stephen King movies are coming back, which I'm fine with that, I guess. I don't really have an opinion either way. But, so yeah, these TV series seem to be the only thing that's working, and it's such a new thing. I'm sure it's going to make more sense as time goes on, but right now I'm still a little bit questioning the whole logic behind it because, like I say, they're just so much longer. And I get it that the production value can be lower because the way that they're made episodically, they don't cost as much. The budgets are lower because the production value is lower because I guess I I mean, most of the time they're not these huge action things, right? If you think about the stuff that is big or was big. Oh yeah, that's not Breaking Bad. Like I said, Stranger Things, shit like that. The Serial Unfortunate Events show. All that stuff was like, I don't know. There's like some mystery elements. There's some drama. Definitely drama. Maybe comedy. Not a lot of action. The closest thing to that, again, the Marvel TV series, the Defenders shit. And those are, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., those are budget superheroes at best. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against Daredevil and Iron Fist and all the rest, but yeah, I mean, there's no explosions, there's no Iron Man, there's no lasers, there's no bombs and missiles, but so I mean, a lot of it is fucking, it comes down to a goddamn kung fu movie. It's just a lot of martial arts for the most part. Again, all that's fine, but I don't know. I'm still working out the logic of it all. Like, I get it. It's cheaper to make and you can make more, but hell, they're long. I guess what I'm trying to say is how much much more developed do you think all these characters that we have from like throughout cinematic history, if they had all been TV series? Just think about it. If all the Star Wars movies were, each one was a season of a show. Like I was just talking about the Clone Wars. People fucking love it because you get so much backstory into those characters. The goddamn prequels were then saved by it because they had absolutely no time to get into all the important stuff that they should have or make you care about any of the new characters, and they just ended up being pieces of shit because George Lucas decided to spend way more time on world building, back side characters, fucking stupid side characters, and politics than any of the action or interesting parts of the plot. But hell, if you go further back, man, some of the original stuff that could have been a show, especially stuff that they made 100 million movies of, like multiply that by 5 and you go for how many episodes. And again, each episode is like 40 minutes long. The Fast and Furious movies, 8 of those, imagine 40 episodes those. The Godfather movies, how many of those did they make? Like a trillion? Imagine each one of those was like 5 episodes. The Terminator movies, the Avatar. By the way, I think I mentioned this before. James Cameron apparently making more Avatar movies. The guy's fucking insane. I think I did say it, so I'm not going to repeat myself. But yeah, imagine if he was making a show of that. They would have already all been out by now. But I think it just wouldn't have worked because the whole point of Avatar is this huge production value, the massive use of CG and tons of fucking shit everywhere. Like if you ever watch that movie, that's all it is just gorgeous, beautiful shit, but shit nonetheless. And I guess you just can't, I don't think you can achieve that level of production value on a TV series. But people, what I've learned throughout my life is people fucking like money. And those TV shows make a lot of fucking money. Especially if you're Disney, where you own everything imaginable that you can just make a TV series off of because you've already made the movies. Like I said, Netflix isn't doing bad for themselves. They started the whole trend, but hell, Skylanders came way before Disney Infinity. I'm pretty sure Skylanders was more successful than Disney Infinity, but whatever. Look, all I'm saying is all Disney has to do is find an idea that they like and they just either use it, or if it's copyright infringement, then they buy it and that works out just fine for them. And so far, that's what they've been doing. Fucking hell. Case in point, Disney Plus. But yeah, people really like money and these things make a lot of money. So I'm just saying, I would not be surprised in the slightest if we start seeing a lot of the entertainment that we consume start moving towards TV shows, which it already has. Like I said, almost everyone I know like hasn't watched a movie in forever unless it's a really big name one, which I'm gonna get into in a second. But like, you go and watch the big ones that come out that you're following, that you're interested in. Again, almost all connect to universes, so it's like, oh, I followed these movies, I'm gonna watch them all when they come out. Everything else is just white noise. Other than that, they just stay at home and watch shows. You don't have to. It's cheaper. You're already paying for your Netflix or your Disney Plus or whatever subscription. You don't have to go outside to the movies. If you got a fucking big ass TV, you don't really need the screen at the theater. Like, if theaters are the next thing to go after Blockbuster, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like I said, even I'm guilty. I have not been to the movie theater in forever, mostly because I just don't have time. I watch shit when it comes out on Netflix, and if it doesn't come out on Netflix or if it's too new or whatever, I go to, what do we use? Optic or something, which is just on-demand shit. You just rent it and then you watch it, and that's it. Case in point, recently I finally watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I'll tell you what, one of Tarantino's longest films, not one of his best. It wasn't terrible. If you watch Tarantino movies, the guy's fucking good. All right, he's just good at his job. They're hilarious and fucking brutal. Honestly, some of his movies I didn't even know were Tarantino movies. He just is all over the place. He's directed a few things, and like he's even directed like an individual episode of a TV show, and they even get him to act in a couple of things. Just because he's so goddamn good. But he's only produced now 9 or 10 movies. 9? Because his thing was he's gonna make 10 movies and he's gonna retire. Those and just like from the first one, Reservoir Dogs, his first movie, it was so phenomenally successful. All the rest of them were so good. Like, ever since his career began, people were just trying to get him in everything, which is why, like I say, he's directed a handful of other things here and there, and even acted in some things, just because it's like, if you can get Tarantino's name in your show, your movie, or whatever, you fucking got it made. He's never made a thing that hasn't gone to the Oscars, and he's only made 9 of them. Like, I get it. It makes sense. Like, his first movie was in the 80s, the 90s. I want to say the 80s. A long time ago. He's been making movies for a long time, because each one he spends like 3 years on, or 4 years, or 5 years. He's probably been working on them for a decade before he actually starts to make the movie. He puts a lot of time and effort. Like I said about Elon Musk, the same applies for Tarantino in the world of entertainment. It's like, that's what entertainment fucking should be. Short, sweet, quality over quantity. I can't stress enough, that's exactly what we need. It's not too much for you to watch. It's not like this stuff where you can't even keep up with how much shit is coming out. It's not stretched out. It's not one book turned into 3 fucking Hobbit movies. It's not other books that just got made into travesty movies. It's not this shit with, god damn it, what was I thinking? The thought literally just left my head the second I was about to put into words. Anyways, there's these movies that are just don't deserve to be made, and you can't watch them all because there's just too fucking many of them. Oh, I was gonna say Harry Potter, they split the last book into 2 movies. Regardless, these are great. So what he's got is, I think it was Reservoir Dogs was the first one. I don't know the order, but there was the 2 Kill Bills, which he counts as 1. So that's the other thing. He said he was only gonna make 10 movies, but I think this would have been his 10th and final one. But he says he counts Kill Bill Part 1 and 2, Volume 1 and 2, I should say, as 1 movie because he wrote it as 1 script. It was too long. They cut into 2. By the way, his movie's fucking long if you like don't watch them knowing that it's a Tarantino movie. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was like 2 hours, 40 minutes or something. Hateful Eight is like 3 hours. So that's another one. Hateful Eight, the 2 Kill Bills, Reservoir Dogs, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Inglourious Bastards. Did not know that was one of his movies. Was Pulp Fiction. Jackie Brown. Did not know that was one of his movies. It is. That's 8. There should be one more. Django Unchained, which I want to say that was his most recent one before.
I think the Hateful Eight came after Django.
Oh, you're right, because Hateful Eight was his 8th film.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. I guess that's thematic. By the way, Hateful Eight. I guess that's part of the joke. Is it's his eighth film. It's hateful. It's a hateful eighth. I don't know. I don't know if he does puns. But at the same time, the point is it's 8 people in an inn. Which again, if you haven't watched the movie, you might be wondering how you make a 3-hour. His longest movie out of the smallest cast. He does it. It's fucking good. But it's called The Hateful Eight. There's 9 characters, or there's more than 8 characters. I can tell you that. There's like 11 people in total. I really don't know how you count as 8, honestly, because there's the obvious main cast. You got Sam Jackson's character, Kurt Russell's character, Sonny from Ant-Man and the Wasp. I don't know any of their names. You got, so there's those 3. What? Who?
The old man.
Oh, the old dude. Well, see, I'm even tentative to count him because he dies so early. I mean, spoiler warning if you haven't watched it, whatever. So like of the people that survive, the
Civil War guy.
See, I don't fucking know. So Sam Jackson, Kurt Russell, whiny dude, those 3. I mean, they live. Well, they don't. That's not true. But like they're the first characters you see. They gotta be important. And then I would count again, spoiler warning, if you haven't watched it, just skip past this part. Everyone except for those 3 is fucking bad in the movie. That's the twist, is that everyone is trying to bust this woman that they arrested. Well, not arrested, but he's a bounty hunter, taking her to get hanged. Everyone there is working with her gang and trying to get her out. It's her brother is the leader of the gang. So those are the only 3 quote unquote protagonists of the movie. One of them dies off straight off, and the other 2 eventually die. Everyone dies again. Everyone dies at the end. But so of the other people, when they get to the inn, the 3 of them arrive at the inn. Everyone else who's already there is working together. So there's the guy who claims to be the hangman, the British dude. The gravelly voice gun shooty guy, the mean one.
Just the dude under the floor too.
Yeah, see, I don't even want to count them yet because I'm trying to just get it to 8, but there's more than 8 no matter how you look at it, but I can't. Oh yeah, Bob, the Mexican dude. And there's 2 others before you get to anyone under the ground, and without the woman. I remember because immediately after watching the movie, I was trying to figure out who's the 8, and it's like, well, the only way you can count as 8 is if you don't count any of the people under the floor. No, it's just him. Yeah, if you don't count Magic Mike, and if you don't count the woman, which is incredibly sexist, or I guess you could just count it as like because she was their captain. I don't have any idea what his counting was in this, but there's 2 other characters without counting the woman. I don't remember. Oh yeah, there's the old guy. Yeah, the old war veteran, and another one. Well, anyways, because there was 8. There's like, fuck, I don't remember at all. Anyways, great movie. I spent way too much time just trying to figure out the characters in a fucking movie. I don't know why I even was talking about Tarantino, but his movies are great. Right, because I was saying I finally watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So it was interesting. It was definitely a very different movie for Tarantino. It's I don't know if you've watched fuck. I don't know if you've watched the Honest trailer for all the Tarantino movies. It's goddamn funny. Really accentuates his foot fetish, which was not a thing I was really aware of at the time. Yeah, the dude's into feet, like not even as a joke. He just has a foot fetish, and kudos to him. He owns it. He's just like, I fucking like feet. And then he worked it into his movies so heavily. He basically normalized it. Like the reason you all know about foot fetishes, including Mr. Balkwell, know all about foot fetishes and like, oh yeah, it's just a thing. Like whether or not you believe that that's a okay thing, the reason it's been so normalized and like we're so desensitized to it, as opposed to like if you were to say you had an elbow fetish or basically any other part of the body, is because of Tarantino, because he was like, I'm like feet, and he puts them in all his movies. It's like, it works, I guess, if you want to make a movie. I mean, not that his movies aren't R-rated, but he doesn't utilize the R rating to have a lot of like gratuitous sex scenes, which is fine. Instead, he just throws feet on the screen constantly. It's like all over the place. Really never noticed it. I mean, like, I would notice it, like, that's a fucking foot, and it's front and center on the screen. I don't know why. Then I watched Honest Trailer. Makes a lot more sense now. The dude is into feet. Can't see I see where he's coming from, but you know, to each their own. Yeah, I don't know if you guys watch Honest Trailers. Probably, I think. You know Honest Trailer? They just make.
I know about them, but
yeah, they're pretty funny. They make comedic trailers for movies. It's just, yeah, it's in the title. But they made one for, usually it's like one trailer for one movie, but sometimes they do little special things. So they did one for every Tarantino movie. And goddamn, there's a whole sequence about the foot thing, and it's funny if you haven't seen it. But they also went over like his eras kind of movies, which was like the first, and I hadn't really noticed it because I didn't really know when they came out until I watched that video. So the earliest ones were just like really the quintessential Tarantino. Whenever I think about him, anyways, it's like the crime movies. You know, lots of blood, lots of shooting, lots of illegal people, lots of Boston accents. And that was those ones that I said, the Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and I think Jackie Brown. I think you're right.
Because Samuel L. Jackson's character, you know.
I'm trying to think of the dates. Well, and then, so anyways, then he had like what the Honest Trailer described as Quentin Tarantino just making 70s movies. That was Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. And I think, I think Jackie Brown was the other one in that. I think it was, I don't know jack shit. And then there was like, and then there was the long one, which was just Hateful Eight, which he said as his whole own category. But I would say that fits into the last category, which is history remakes. It's like Inglourious Basterds, World War II. Django Unchained is like Django Unchained is, what is the time frame? Hateful Eight I know is post Civil War. Django Unchained, is that in mid Civil War or post? Because I know it's like a slave. It's slave owner dude.
The Civil War is even.
So pre Civil War. Yeah. So pre Civil War is Django Unchained. Hateful Eight is post Civil War, which makes sense. And then Inglourious Basterds is World War II. And then this one, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, is supposed to fit into that because it's a history thing, which was like quite a twist, really. I guess people who were following the movie and like knew about the making of it probably knew it already, but for me it seemed like an intentional twist, whether or not it was. But basically what it is it, you know, the whole premise of the movie, all the marketing for the movie was like, again, if you haven't watched it, fucking deal with it, like figure it out. The whole premise of the movie is these two guys, it's an actor and a stunt double, you know, having a little romp in Hollywood, beating the shit out of people as per Tarantino's want. It's a well, I mean, I guess if you want to go into more detail, the idea is that the actor is kind of like washed up. He's not doing so well. He's not as big as he used to be. You know, it's supposed to be like this is the reality of Hollywood, which, to be fair, isn't exactly an original concept. It's like, it's not really all so great and bright and shiny. It's actually kind of a piece of shit. Then, turns out, the whole movie takes a turn. Turns out the whole thing is actually a retelling of this thing that I didn't even know about, just because it was before my time. My dad did, though, and he recognized it immediately. Some actress, who's played by Margot Robbie, I don't remember who she actually is. But she's like, they keep showing her in the movie, and it's like, well, what's gonna happen with her? Turns out they straight up introduce a cult into the movie, and this cult really this thing really happened in history. The main characters, DiCaprio's guy and Brad Pitt's guy, not real characters. They were made up, but this Margot Robbie's character was a real actress who was killed by this fucking hippie cult back in, fuck if I know, 80s, 70s. Just cause like that was their deal, was like, oh fuck Hollywood, fuck the movie stars, and for some reason they targeted this woman. They got into her house late at night and killed her. And apparently Tarantino like really admired this actress and was like really upset about her death. So he made this movie to basically rewrite history so that she lived, and she does. Again, if you've watched the movie, you'll know that cult people, their original job was to go and kill her, and then they recognized these two characters that were completely made up, and that's basically the whole movie happens in like the last 9-10 minutes, which is they change their course from the neighbor, who is the person who actually got killed, to her neighbors, the main characters, and then they get fucked up. And it's hilarious, and it's classic Tarantino violence, and it's very enjoyable. The like 2.5 hours of setup to it is arguably, a lot of it is unnecessary, but again, if you watch it with the understanding of what it's supposed to mean, I guess that makes sense. That said, it was still a very unusual movie. Like I say, the end was super classic Tarantino. Up until then, I feel like it was limited. The reason why it got a little bit slow at sometimes, and there was things that you felt like could be cut out, is just because Tarantino was limited for like the first time by actual human laws and normal things. Because if you think about it, all the rest of his movies are crime. Like I said, those first ones are like all are just these are criminals. They break the law all the time. Whatever. The whole movie is about some crime taking place usually. Or like Kill Bill, she was with a crime organization, but then after she's out of that, she's still just committing crimes every turn. And then the other version of that is war. Inglourious Bastards, Django Unchained, Hateful Eight. Some either war times or just like before, like Wild West kind of thing. There's no law, so there's no law to break. People die all the time. People get shot all the time. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's just Hollywood. Like, it's Hollywood a couple decades ago, sure, but it's Hollywood nonetheless. It's a American city with real human loss, so there's a lot less. Yeah, it takes a lot of time for stuff to happen. Like, don't get me wrong, he works in violence where he can. He clearly has no issue beating the shit out of hippies and cultists, which, I mean, who doesn't? But yeah, other than that, it's a lot of regular people doing regular real life things. And if you're into that, if you're cool with that, if you really get a lot out of the inherent meaning behind the movie, good for you. If you don't give a shit about any of that, ain't that a bitch.
You dumb fucking cunts. It's so simple. Look at this. Look at this. Dash 4 brain dead Grayson could do this. Was that so difficult? Was that so fucking difficult? Look. Wow, it's... Holy fuck. Holy fuck. Alright. Don't be a cockbite. Pick up your goddamn garbage. Jesus.